So, morning everyone. I'm Arbaz, and I have been a smart contract triager on Immunify. So, Immunify is a leading bug bounty platform for smart contracts and blockchain. So, I will be presenting topic on Bug Hunter's Guide to High Quality Reporting. So, using my own triaging experience, I will be sharing what are those qualities that makes reports truly exceptional. So, let's dive into the topic. So the whole agenda of the talk is divided into two parts. So I will be doing a high-level overview of 5 key qualities of a great report. Then we will be exploring each of these quality with good examples versus bad example to see like how it goes. So starting with one of the first quality is the neat and clean title. And the whole purpose of having this neat and clean title is it should summarize the whole issue. So just by reading the title itself, you could get the whole picture around the issue. And the next, we have this bug description, where it's all about like what the bug is and where the bug occurs within the code base. And one of the key qualities the white hat follows, who submits a great quality of reports, is they always explain the issues with doing a comparison between the expected normal workflow of the functionality versus the malicious behavior around the functionality. So this is really helpful when it comes to bug bounties. So as a triager and as a judges who are not much familiar with the code bases, new code bases, so having this expected behavior versus malicious behavior functionality, it makes a lot more easier to understand the whole issue around the bug. And the next thing they do is they use the proper formatting. So whatever the option the platform offers, like bullet points or the markdown options, so they use all the options with the whole purpose of increasing the readability. And then next thing they do is they follow this proper referencing of the code. So we know that bug submission could get complex because you have to explain the nested structure of the code. So going inside of the function, going into another internal function. So it's really important to keep the flow and explain each of that flow with a proper referencing of the code lines. So that's the bug description. The next key quality is white hats always go beyond the attack surface. They always focus on the impact. So one of the example is, let's say the white hat reported a vulnerability where he mentions he found a reentrancy vulnerability in a specific function. That's cool, but what's the impact outcome of having this attack vector? Like what damage he could do to the protocol or the user of the protocol, that's what the impact is. So they always go beyond the attack vector. So instead of just focusing on the attack vector, they go and determine what is the final consequences of the impact the attacker can achieve. So that's where the impact comes. And the next, we have this proof of concept. So besides just submitting the code POC, high quality reports often they provide dependencies that is required in order to run the POC, and as well as the environment setup unit in order to run the POC. So also it's really important to have this POC output within the submission, because it's super helpful for triagers and as well as judges. So looking at the POC output, you can reproduce you can understand the whole issue around the issues, like without even reproducing in most of the cases. So it's super helpful to have this POC output field within the POC. The last thing they determine is they think about any feasibility limitations. So whether that could affect the course of the exploitation. So they think about, are there any limitations that could interfere with the course of exploitation? So they be very open, transparent, and think about like what are the workarounds, like they can bypass these feasibility limitations. So these are the high-level overview of 5 key qualities of a great report. Now, in the next slides, we can explore each of these qualities with some of the examples. So, starting with the title, here's the bad example of a title, which totally focuses on the attack vector, which says delegate call vulnerability in a proxy manager, which does not give much of the context. And here's a good example of the title. So good example of a title is always a mixture of 3 composition, that is like attack vector, then the source, then we have the final impact outcome. So here, unprotected delegate call is the attack vector, and the source is proxy manager is the contract. Then we have this delegate function within the proxy manager, and then it leads to the griefing. So reading the title, it should sum up the entire issue, so you can get the whole picture around the issue. Next, we have this bug description, which it's really important to keep the bug description neat and clean, just explaining what the bug is and where the bug occurs within the code base. And also explaining this, doing a comparison between this normal operation of the functionality and versus the malicious behavior of the functionality to just draw the difference, like how it deviates from a normal operation. And the third, we have this impact. So here's the bad example of impact. These white hats often do. So whenever they submit their impact, like in the case you can see the white hat reports, there's a reentrancy vulnerability in the withdraw function, where he mentioned like which can lead to unintended behaviors and unauthorized state manipulation, which leaves you a mystery, like what are those unintended behaviors and all. So here's the good example of impact. So using the same example of reentrancy vulnerability in a withdraw function, the white hat wrote like it could result in an impact of direct theft of funds from the contract. Then we have the bad examples of POCs. So generally, we see only 2 cases. The first one is a lab-grown POC, where the white hats develop the POC in a very controlled, simulated environment just to demonstrate the attack vector and the vulnerability around the issue. But it's not really applicable in a real-world scenario, so it's not actually demonstrated on actual code base. So we don't accept that as a POC because it's not real-world feasible. Then we see a lot of these on-chain fork modifications. So here are the 2 examples of it, where white hats go and actually modify the storage of the contract. They go and modify the storage to whitelist themselves to perform certain operations, which is totally not acceptable because that's not how the actual conditions were on the mainnet deployed contract. Then another example, we have this Foundry cheat code they use. I call this as unlimited money glitch, where they meant like a lot of token supply capital just to demonstrate the attack. We do accept the cheat codes, but it should be practical. They should always provide the source, like from where they are going to get the supply. So it's not like using the capital, which is not actually feasible within the ecosystem. So here's the examples of bad POC. Then the last, we have these feasibility limitations. So feasibility limitations are to think about the questions that could interfere with the exploitation of the issue. So the questions you could consider, like how cost effective the attack would be to carry out for an attacker, like how much the attacker is investing into the attack, what are the capital requirements he's putting there, and how much profit he's getting out of the attack. And things like, are there any specific conditions the attacker need in order to execute the attack? Or if the attack is being done for a long period over the multiple blocks, are there any chances of risks of detections? or are there any timeline for execution? So you can always determine this factor based on like the gas cost the attack is incurring, and as well as the capital requirement the attacker would need in order to carry out the attack, and things like the market slippage effect on the profitability the attacker would be making. So, and there could be many factors depending on each and every different scenarios and cases. So the whole purpose of this having feasibility limitation is to be very open, transparent to the project that, yes, there are some limitations, and also think about what are the workarounds they could come up to bypass those feasibility limitations. Finally, here are the advantages of high quality reporting. So we have seen like high quality reporting often leads to faster rewards. It's mainly because it makes very life easier for our triagers and as well as the projects to go and understand the issue and reproduce, as well as this leads to a faster resolvement of the issue, because it removes the whole hassle of back and forth communication to gather the more information. And often we have also noticed that high quality reports also leads to a very high end rewards. It's mostly due to the effects of the efforts the white hat is putting into the submission. And also there has been potential chances of getting the goodwill payout, like even if your submission is getting duplicate or if it's a known issue, the projects always, they go ahead and they always do a goodwill payout for your efforts over there. And lastly, the white hat also build this reputation, this trust, and this gives them more opportunity more opportunity from the project side to get him involved in some private audits as well, and private programs to get him participate just based on the high quality submissions he submitted. So yeah, so these were the 5 key qualities and the advantages of high quality reporting. So that's it. Thank you.